So we have a problem here, negative 50, minus 40, minus 30. And there are two students who have come up with two different answers. And I'm going to tell you right away that both these answers are incorrect. One student got an answer of negative 40 and the other student got an answer of negative 60. And I want you to be a detective and figure out what mistake could these students have made. Hope you spent some time thinking about what these students might have done. So now let's work on it together. I think what this student has done is basically the student did 40 minus 30, which is 10. And then the student did 50 minus 10, that's 40. And since there was a negative sign in between, they just put a negative here and got negative 40. What might this student have done? I think this student also started out with doing 40 minus 30 and that gave them 10. And you've got negative 50 minus 10. And now I think the student realized, oh, when you subtract a number, you're adding the opposite. So negative 50 plus negative 10, and that would give you negative 60. So part of it was correct, but the first part was incorrect. So what is the correct way to do this problem? When we have multiple subtraction signs, my suggestion to you would be to make everything into add the opposite. So let me show you what I mean. You have negative 50 minus 40 minus 30, and we're going to rewrite this entire expression by adding the opposite. So we start off with negative 50. Now since 40 is being subtracted, we're going to add the opposite of 40, which is negative 40. And now since 30 is being subtracted, we add the opposite of 30, which is negative 30. And now since all of them are addition, it's kind of simple to add them. We have negative 50, negative 40, negative 30. They're all negative numbers, so nothing is going to cancel each other out. We're simply going to add them up. So add the absolute values. 50 plus 40 is 90. 90 plus 30 is 120. And since all of them are negative, the answer will be negative. Let's do two more problems similar to this one. So here is the first problem. Negative 20 minus negative 35 minus 4. What are we going to do first? We're going to rewrite this entire expression as add the opposite. So let's start doing that. Negative 20 stays as it is. And since negative 35 is being subtracted, we're going to add the opposite of negative 35. So add, what's the opposite of negative 35? It's positive 35. So we will add positive 35. And then since 4 is being subtracted, we'll add the opposite of 4, which is negative 4. Now since all of these are plus signs, we are adding everything. We can add it in any order that we want. So my preference is to add all the negatives separately and all the positives separately and then add them together. So let's do that. Negative 20 plus negative 4. Let me write that here. Negative 20 plus negative 4. Oops. Negative 4. And since both are negative, all you do is add the absolute values, that's 24, and put a negative sign. So negative 20 plus negative 4 is negative 24, and then you have positive 35. Now, negative 24 and 35 are opposite signs, so they're different signs, so they're going to cancel each other out. That means we're going to subtract them. 35 minus 24 is 11. And since we are more positive than negative, since the absolute value of the positive number is greater than the absolute value of the negative number, your answer will be positive. How do we do the second problem? Again, we're going to rewrite all the subtraction as adding the opposite. So 30, instead of doing minus 46, we are going to do plus the opposite of 46, which is negative 46. And instead of minus negative 9, let's do plus opposite of negative 9, which is 9. And now let's add these together. As I said earlier, what we'll do is add the positive separately and the negative separately. So this is positive and this is positive, and that's 39. And there is only one negative, that's negative 46. Now these two are opposite signs, so they will cancel each other out. That means you'll subtract them. 46 minus 39, and that is 7. And since we have more negative than positive, the absolute value of negative 46 is greater than the absolute value of 39, the answer will be negative. So your answer is negative 7.